nice wheels. My mom's. The new Honda Accord. Car and driver's time best. A record 27 times. She's got good taste.
She gotta have the really big spring event. I know these things.
Loving hard is the beginning of all knowledge.
Carlisle, Thomas.
Want a chip?
We have to go.
Will I see you again?
Maybe. I'll watch it from a rear view camera.
I'll never forget that Accord.
Hurry into the really big spring event where you can get a great deal on a new Honda Accord. Hondas hold their value better than any other brand.
New from the I-Team tonight, suspected drunk drivers in some metro counties are getting a rude surprise when they refuse a breathalyzer test.
Yeah, instead of taking no for an answer, officers now obtain a search warrant to forcibly draw blood and get evidence for the case. The key word there, of course, forcibly. Our Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis here now with the video you have got to see. Everybody would agree that this is disturbing video, Russ and Lisa. Each year, drunk drivers kill more Americans than the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan combined. It is often a tragic, preventable crime that frustrates law enforcement. That's why some say what you're about to see in Gwinnett County is justified when a DUI suspect declines to cooperate.
I've never been raped by rape. This is so unnecessary. No! Excuse me, hold on. I never fought nobody. I didn't never do nothing. What the hell is y'all doing?
What they're doing at the Gwinnett County Jail is strapping down suspected drunk drivers to a gurney so a nurse can take their blood, evidence that can be used against them later in court, even though the suspects refuse to give their consent.
What country is this? What country is this?
David Boyle is a former Gwinnett prosecutor, now defense attorney.
Holding down and forcing someone to submit to this is really intrusive in terms of that level of invasive procedure into somebody's body is ridiculous for investigating a misdemeanor.
Intrusive, certainly.
Yeah, it's called violating my Fourth Amendment.
Authorities, even though the law supposedly gives you a choice.
To get a Georgia driver's license, you have to agree to take a state-administered test, like this Intoxilizer 5000, if an officer suspects you've been drinking and driving. It's called implied consent. You can refuse, but if you do, you lose your license for a year. Plus, that decision can be used as evidence against you when you go to trial.
Still, a growing number of DUI defense attorneys suggest you should say no to the test if you've been drinking. In fact, many advise refusing all field sobriety tests, claiming you're simply helping the police manufacture evidence against you, and a 1-year suspension might be preferable to having a drunk driving conviction on your record. Veteran lawmen like Douglas County Sheriff Phil Miller admit that strategy has made their job tougher.
So if you're drunk and you're driving a vehicle, I'm going to try to put you in jail.
In Douglas County, more people die from DUI accidents than murders. So 3 years ago, authorities there tried something new.
You take the state breath test and we'll get up to the office.
Every time a DUI suspect refuses to take a breath test, Douglas County deputies get a search warrant to draw their blood. For every DUI stop, even if there's no accident or injury.
Gathering the blood, that's the best way I know of to prove if somebody's either not DUI or DUI. And it is what it is. If they're not guilty, they're not guilty. If they're guilty, they've got to face the consequences. And I don't see anything wrong with that.
If you're going to take their blood anyway, why give them a choice?
Well, the law requires us to give them a choice.
The sheriff says mandatory blood tests have also helped their conviction rate. This man refused the breath test, but the forced blood draw showed he was legally impaired at 0.16, twice the limit. He pled guilty. A lot in Douglas County are doing the same.
I would much rather that message get to these people than the message is if they stop you, don't take a test. The police will manufacture evidence. That's a bald-faced lie, Randy, and you ought not tell it.
Instead, Douglas County now encourages other departments around the state to adopt their no refusals policy. In January, Gwinnett County's DUI task force started forced blood draws, but with one big difference from Douglas County.
We all are American citizens, and you guys got me strapped to a table like I'm in Guantanamo
At the Gwinnett County Jail, every forced blood draw begins with strapping down the suspect on a padded table and putting them in a head grasp. Every time, whether they're compliant or complaining.
We can't take the chance that you're not going to lose your emotional control during a situation that is so sensitive.
And it's not just male DUI suspects. This woman eventually pled no contest. Another is still waiting for her day in court. Both showed no resistance, but deputies still strapped them down.
Is there any concern that this just doesn't look good? You know, I understand perception, but the reality of that perception is we work in an environment to where experience has shown.
Are these police officers taking everybody's DNA to use it for something else, or is just DUI? I don't think it's for DUI. I think they're just collecting data from everybody that's drunk. That's an easier way to collect data. DNA too, you know.
Stop at all. I'm a tax-paying American who refused something. Regardless of what happens after the fact, I refuse to do this.
I'm not fighting you, dude. Don't push me too hard. I'm not fighting you.
Drunk driving, and it ruins lives. It hurts families.
Why will us taxpayers buy into all these tyranny thing? We shouldn't. Look, let's just stop paying them taxes. Let's start not paying them taxes no more. Cause why would we pay them to take our blood and put us under tyranny? What America gonna turn into? With China or something, or North Korea? Nah, I'm not dealing with this. I should not pay y'all any taxes no more.
The practical application of that, of terms of forcing people down and holding them to, to stick a needle in their arm to get it, I think it's just an unreasonable search of those people.
Another showdown between personal liberty and public safety.
There's hardly anybody that you can talk to that doesn't know somebody that was killed by a drunk driver. We ought to do something about that, don't you think?
They always could arrest you and put out more alcohol into your blood. Do y'all notice that?
Critical of Gwinnett, that said he likes to treat people the way he would want to be treated. Those in charge in Gwinnett, though, say that they make more DUI cases than the folks in Douglas County, and even the most compliant suspect they fear might seize up somewhere during the removal of their blood. They just worry about him because, after all, the reason they're there is because they didn't cooperate in the first place.
Yeah, drinking and driving a very serious matter.
At least not in the data that we looked at in Douglas.
New from the I-Team tonight, suspected drunk drivers in some metro counties are getting a rude surprise when they refuse a breathalyzer test.
Yeah, instead of taking no for an answer, officers now obtain a search warrant to forcibly draw blood.